crying little.
Yoga.
Months into the Trump presidency, so we thought it would be a good time to check in with Trump voters to see how they're feeling today. I sat down with a panel of people from California, Texas, Ohio, and New York, all of whom voted for Donald Trump. At one time, these folks were all on the same side, excited about this outsider running for president. But as you'll see, times have changed, and today some feel very differently. So here now, our next Pulse of the People. How many of you are still just as excited today as you were on election day about President Trump?
Maybe more so.
And how many of you, the rest, would you say that you regret your votes? Raise your hands.
I'm disappointed.
Why are you more excited today than you were?
You know, I came in with some trepidation based on his previous record. He's the most pro-life president we've had, more than Reagan. He's done a substantial job protecting the Second Amendment, securing our border, deporting illegal aliens. He made a list of promises. He's coming through on many of them.
Jeremy, what do you regret about your vote?
In my mind, and the way I look at him now, I think he's a monster. I think he's a bigot. I think that he's doing a lot of things to ruin people's lives. I don't think that I think that he's taking this country in the wrong direction, and it's a terrifying time for me.
Was there a moment that turned you?
It was when I heard about what was going on the southern border.
What part did you object to?
The family separation and the children in cages. I would chime in just really quick. Yeah. You've got parents who are breaking the law, bringing their kids here. If you don't want to be separated from your family, don't come to the country illegally. You're having individuals coming from Central or even South America, risking their lives and their children's lives.
Because their lives are at risk at home.
They can go to an and be safe there. Absolutely.
There's also
in the country of Mexico.
You can do it. It is legal here to go to a port of entry and seek asylum. It was President Trump that started the zero tolerance. So you used to be able to stay together. You couldn't under the zero tolerance.
Keep in mind also, we have these minors that are now getting excellent care. They're getting very good housing.
But that's not the point. That is not the point. I mean, I'm a lawyer, and I can tell you, first of all, there were 2,500 children that came here. They were not reconnected. They did come here legally.
Yeah. No one's really talked about the unaccompanied minors that are being brought here by people that are looking to sex traffic these children.
Yeah, listen, human trafficking is a huge thing right now. Let's talk about that. The thing that got everyone's attention was that people who were not sex traffickers were bringing their kids and they got separated, and 572 of them may never see their parents again.
Thanks to the
were they really the parents?
Even after Trump's on directive.
Were they really the parents?
Hold on, we haven't heard yet from Chris. Go ahead.
This is the problem with what the president is doing. He's able to divide us on these issues. We're now fighting amongst ourselves. You know, you look at Charlottesville, you look at the separation of the families on the border, you just look at the tweeting. I've never seen an individual who is so good at connecting with sort of average people that has no ability to really communicate or control the way he communicates.
I think it's disingenuous to say that President Trump is wholly responsible for the bifurcation that we see across party lines right now.
But is he helping it?
I don't think that necessarily some of the things that he says could be said in a more polished manner.
My issue with this president, who I voted for, is the fact that he has something negative to say about every other leader. But you try saying one little comment that's negative about Trump himself. He jumps into a fit and he has this Twitter tirade. You know, we have a lot of, really, I mean, I have to be crass about it, idiots who voted for him, including myself at one time.
I take great offense. I'm not an idiot. It's a wise decision that people voted. It was a wise decision for Michiganders, for Wisconsinites, for Pennsylvanians, for working Americans who were jobs being taken away, shipped overseas, or taken by illegals. I want to apologize to the nation for my vote for him. It was the wrong thing to do. It was the biggest mistake I ever made. Like I said, he is a racist.
Why do you believe he's racist?
Why do I believe he's racist? Look what happened in Puerto Rico. He said, oh, they want to just cry and, you know, they needed help. Just because they're not white-skinned, he doesn't want to go down there and help them out?
So, I take great offense to the fact that you felt the need to apologize on the behalf of the entire nation, because that also that says to me that you are invalidating the validity of my vote.
No,
and the reasons why I voted for Donald Trump is because based on my perception of him, he is not a racist, and he has done so much. He has done so much for the black community.
How do you explain the tweet about LeBron James and Don Lemon?
I watched that interview.
But he I mean, and the president has done this before. He's called people of color. He's called them ignorant. He's called them dumb.
He's called white people that too.
He says LeBron James is more stupid than Don Lemon.
He goes after John Lemon and LeBron James and Maxine Waters. How do you explain that?
When you call someone's intellect into question, it has nothing to do with race.
I work with a lot of Hispanic evangelicals who are very pro-life. Hispanics care about God, family, jobs, education. Top things for us. But President Trump is delivering on those things.
Right.
So all this other rhetoric,
all
this other rhetoric of, oh, he tweeted this or he did this, I don't really care about that.
You don't care about that.
I care about God,
You're free to
family, God, family,
Understood.
jobs,
Great.
and
You
education.
made a great point about that. And so, as somebody who is driven by her faith and cares about God and family, do any of the personal peccadillos give you pause? The Playboy model who was paid off, the payments to Stormy Daniels, the lives without affairs. Does any of that give you pause?
You know, we are taught as Christians to be forgiving. I'm not going to get into his personal life. That was not something that I weighed in to go vote for him.
Does it make you
anything was better than Hillary?
Absolutely. When you hear about the Playboy stuff, does it make you uncomfortable?
No, I'm not here to judge about what he did on his miscellaneous activities or what he was doing outside of his bedroom. That is not what I voted for him to do. I voted for him for his policies and his agenda to put this.
I found it very interesting to hear a year or so later what some of the Trump voters thought, because I knew when they voted for Trump, you know, they were going to be having a good time. They were going to be loving that, you know, he's going to make America great again. He was going to take America all the way back to its golden days. You know, I've been asking for an answer of when that was. If you go back to the 1950s, we all know what was going on. We all know Jim Crow was in effect. We all know who was benefiting at that time. I've received that answer, but I know it goes back further than that. But some of the people on the panel, they were honest. They actually stepped up and said that they made a mistake, which honestly, I don't think a mistake was made. I do really think that Trump was supposed to be in office, because we saw a little bit of racism come out when Obama was president. It wasn't a lot, though. It wasn't enough to really have people on edge and to see reality. Once Trump got into office, a lot of the facade fell, the veil failed, all of the fakeness melted away, and everybody just lost it, and they showed their true nature. Under pressure, you can see people in their true form, and this just shows this nation has not moved forward. It is not equal. It has been what it's always been from its inception. And I do believe a lot of people who voted for him who were Hispanic, and also other people who have assimilated into American culture, they got their feelings hurt. And after everything was said and done, because when he was on the campaign trail, everybody thought that, you know, since they assimilated into the culture, they feel they're an American and they go by this culture's rules, that, you know, they'll be accepted, they'll be in. Some of them have white on their driver's license. They sign white on any document and everything, so they thought they were set, so they felt they were in, and it was going to be them going against everybody else, and they would come out on top. And then once he was in office, he turned on them. None of the people who assimilated in are a part of this, and they feel slighted. But I wanted to start with Arthur. It's very interesting what he said. He basically was ready to defend Trump before they could even get the panel started. He was the first one to yell in the studio, voicing his opinion. He wanted everyone to know that he was a Trump defender, he's a supporter, and he loves Trump. Now, he said Trump is protecting the Second Amendment and he's protecting the borders. I find it very interesting when someone is talking about protecting the borders when they're not originally from this land, they're not native to the land. It seems like they don't want to happen to them what their ancestors, which they proudly celebrate every year for the 4th of July, did to the native people here. And they're fighting tooth and nail so it won't happen, but they can't really stop it because the population is changing, the demographic is changing, and they're really afraid of not existing. But I mean, in the end, you know, the people who perpetrated the crimes that they did on the native people here, they knew that one day, and it would pass down to their children, their descendants, that there was going to be a price that would be paid for the choices that were made. These people keep trying to kick the can down the road, not wanting it to happen, but it's happening. Everyone was talking about what was happening at the border, and he said, you know, the children and the families that are there being kept in the cages are getting medical care, they're getting housing, and he was very pissed off when the Indian lady, I did not catch her name, but she called Trump voters idiots, including herself, and he didn't take too kindly to it. He didn't like it at all, and he was pissed. And he also said something that was very interesting, which really, I don't understand it, how you can consider yourself part of the high IQ group and you say something like, jobs are being taken by illegals. First of all, these jobs are not jobs that any of them would want to do, because you can even take it back to slavery. There was no picking their own food. There was no doing these jobs. These are jobs that really no Americans really want to do. So they're not taking jobs from anyone. These are jobs that they've never done in history and don't want to do. So that right there is a lie. I think more Black people have a case to say that, you know, they're getting pushed out of certain sectors because of illegal immigrants. And then the other thing, which is the main thing that he said, was jobs was being shipped overseas. Now, his tunnel vision is saying that, you know, someone who is not Caucasian, who is not a white male or white, is not getting that job, and this is something that we could do, but it's being shipped overseas to brown looking people, right? But for some reason his brain does not make the connection that the CEOs and the shareholders and those who are making these decisions look just like him. So in essence, these people who are doing the jobs that are brown, they didn't take anything. The person who looks like him made a decision on that business to take that job from him and those who look like him, and to take it somewhere else so they don't have to pay their workers as much, because honestly, they don't want to pay even their own to do a job. They want to keep all the money. They're very greedy and selfish. And he can't even make that connection. Even with him saying jobs are being taken by illegal immigrants, he's not connecting that the person who's hiring, the person who is making that decision to bring them in, looks just like him. So in essence, someone just like him is literally taking away his livelihood. But for whatever reason and whatever is going on with his brain, he can't make that connection that someone who looks like him is literally ripping the spine out of his back, and nobody else is doing that. All the other people can do is show up to do the job or apply for the job. Essentially, someone like him is giving them the job, taking the job overseas. And this is something that I noticed, when I was in college. There was a lot of middle-aged and older white people who were going back to school because their jobs were shipped overseas. There was nothing they can do about it. But what's interesting is people want to blame brown and black people. But who is shipping those jobs there? Who's sending those jobs there? You even have Trump himself having people who immigrated here working in his businesses because it's cheaper to pay them. But nobody wants to talk about that. They just want to point at somebody's skin color and race, and underneath it all, it is about race. But he is your typical Garden Valley idiot who is severely indoctrinated with the American propaganda that is told to, white males and those who are Caucasian. Now, I wanted to get to this person here, and I don't even want to say his name. He is a disgrace. He was supposed to be representing black Trump voters. He is defending Trump. He loves Trump, and he wanted to make that known. He basically said that Trump is not a racist. He was defending all of the racist things that Trump has said and done. Panelist Christopher asked him about the tweets that Trump put out about LeBron James and Don Lemon. He called some of the football players SOBs, which is disrespectful to their mothers and them. And Christopher also said that, he called people of color ignorant and dumb and brought their intelligence into question. And then this fool wants to go up there and say that bringing someone's intelligence into question is not racist, when yes, it is. When you would look at past scientists and they would be doing race-based science, that's what they did. They made Caucasians look intelligent. They listed out characteristics which made us, incompetent. We were dumb, and it showed it. I mean, it was in cartoons. It's everywhere. And for him to say something like that when black people's intelligence is always questioned is disgusting. I mean, he is setting up there being a lapdog for Arthur, actually, and Bianca, which is a white Hispanic female. And he did not represent black people. Now, I don't even think black Republicans in a good way, because if you notice, everyone else who voted for Trump for valid reasons for their group. like Jeremy, for instance. I believe he is Hispanic, and he called Trump a monster, even though he voted for him, because see, Jeremy thought that him and others like him who has white on their driver's license and had assimilated into the culture, he thought that he would be safe and everybody else would be looked at differently or treated differently. He was sadly mistaken and found out that he was on the hit list. So now Trump is a monster. The reasons he gave for regretting voting for Trump is because what happened in Puerto Rico, and he felt like because they weren't white skinned, that's why they did not receive any help. And also he said the separation of children from their parents on the borders and being put in cages was reprehensible. So you can see he listed a whole myriad of things that affected his people as a group. And Arthur, the white male who's a Trump supporter and loves Trump, he listed things for his group and basically holding on to that power and having that power here in the United States and having it stay with white males. And Christopher, who was a regretter that he voted for Trump, talked about Charlottesville and the families on the borders. That's why he regrets his vote. And he is the one who called out the black guy for defending Trump. His mannerisms to me was like, why are you even here defending Trump? Like, that's how it seemed to me. Like, and I feel the same way. How could you be there defending Trump knowing who he is? And this is not to say that Hillary Clinton is any better. That's why I stayed out of it completely. I didn't vote. I wasn't going to vote for two people that are different sides to the same coin. I wasn't going to do that. This black male couldn't even list things that he wanted from this president for his group, because he's an individualist. He doesn't care about his group of people. He only cares about himself, and he's fully assimilated into this culture here in America. And it's disgusting because he was the only one up there who was assimilated and an individualist. Everybody else chose to assimilate and then push agendas for their group. And this is why we stay in the position that we are. It's disgusting. And I wanted to save the most hypocritical for last, and this is Bianca. She contradicted herself at every turn. And every time someone would turn and talk to the black guy, you can see the body language. You can go back and look. Arthur, the white Trump supporter who was proud to be a Trump supporter, he was trying to defend him, and at the end you see Bianca try and shut down the conversation that is being had and the questions being directed toward the black male, and she jumps in and takes over, because at one point she said the people who are coming over the borders are sex traffickers, as if sex trafficking isn't going on everywhere with everyone. And that's not why they were coming over here. A lot of them were coming over here because America's drug habit. And, anyone can look up to see what's going on. And America is causing it. This is the number one cause. She said that the only thing that Hispanics who voted for him care about, and people who voted for him care about, was God was number one, family, jobs, education. And I just want to say, with education, I've heard nothing from Trump on education. That's not going to happen. Jobs, how can he provide any type of jobs to American people when the American public wants a living wage, and he himself hires people who are immigrants who will take a lesser wage in his own company? It's ridiculous. And then the two that really stands out for me is family. Okay, If family is so important to you, wouldn't you vote for someone who has family values and can articulate those values that could better serve a family? And then the number one is God. And people are always using God as a scapegoat. And she says she's a Christian. And I just want people to know, Catholics and Christians are the same. They are the same people. They interchangeably use Catholic and Christian. So now, if she really cared about God, if she actually read her Bible, instead of giving that forgiveness BS, if you're going to choose a leader, there are stipulations for choosing a leader in the Bible itself. It states what you can do and what you cannot do, what you can engage in and what you cannot engage in. And Trump has engaged in a lot of stuff that would disqualify him to be the leader of anything. And if she actually read the Bible, instead of being indoctrinated by her Christian Catholicism, she would have known that. If she actually dusted off the Bible and opened it, she would know that. So she can't bring God into this. It was great that she got some pushback, because how can you defend someone saying that he grabs women by the pussy, all of his extramarital affairs, this debacle with Stormy Daniels and him paying her off to keep quiet about him having an affair on his wife? But you want to bring God and family into this. They are so hypocritical. And just because you throw the Bible or throw God or throw, your religion in there does not smooth that over. In the end, she ended up telling the truth. It wasn't about God. It wasn't about family. It wasn't about jobs and education. She voted for his agenda because she dismissed that. Because she said Christians are forgiving. Don't nobody want to hear that forgiving BS. Everything is not forgivable. It's all about making America great again. It's all about certain people being on top. And because they feel the pressure of jobs going away, because, like I said, I see it. I have been in a position, and this was in the medical field, I'll say that, where people were getting severance packages. Jobs were being cut left and right. Businesses are cutting jobs left and right. There's complaints of ageism, and they were coming from Caucasian men and women. Younger people can't find jobs, and, they don't have the skills. Some of them have skated through on their skin. But now, a little bit more, it is taking skill, and they can't just get by how they used to get by. So now they feel some type of pressure, and now they want to talk about how unfair it is because they can't skate by. And I see it all the time. You cannot blame quote unquote people of color, which I don't like that term, for any of this. These are people who look just like them. These are people who run the nation and are in high places who are making these decisions. And they can't even be bold enough and brave enough to tell the truth of what it really is, because I see it going on. I see them fighting each other for positions in the company. I see them trying to push others who look like them out of position so they can have theirs. It's a lot of stuff going on. This is due to their own doing. They allowed this government to get out of control. They supported everything that has happened throughout their generations to get to this point. And now that the big bad beast is coming for them, now they want to scream foul. But when you let things happen to other people, when you don't make things right with other people, this is what happens. And they're doubling down on it too. So it's just going to get worse for them from here. But I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think about this interview. Let me know which person you like the least and which one you like the most, and why you agree or disagree with them. And I'll see you in the next one.